So the reason I want to do this little project is sometimes I have lights back here, but when I'm back here, we have a trailer, and if I ever have to hook anything up, you know, there, my light's blocked. I love my Diamondback, but it blocks the cab light. You know, I have lights in my bed, but if I have to hook up the hitch, then there's really nothing down here. Granted, I wouldn't hook up the hitch with the tailgate down, but you get the point. So the plan is to mount the light right here. It's going to mount and it's going to face out a little bit out, so it kind of shines on the ground, so it'll fill up all this light. So whenever we hook the trailer up, or if ever I'm in need of light, early morning hunts, late night hunts, whatever, that'll be the reasoning. Okay, so here we are. Here's the model. It's not the it's the flush mount version of the light. So we'll go ahead and open it up here. There's light right here. Comes with little pigtail, little gasket. Here's an on and off switch. We're not going to use this. Here is the wiring harness. So the plan with the wiring harness, since we're not using the on and off switch, the light, is we're going to have wired right to the upfitter switch. So the way this comes delivered, I'll start end to end here. Kind of start with this end. Here is the, call it the male pigtail, which plugs into the female pigtail, like that. So you have your light, you have your connection, and then because it came with the switch where we're not going to use, if we follow this wire, we're going to come to this connection. Now basically the way it's run here is you have a feed for the switch, and then positive for the switch, and then basically your ground for the switch. So these would hook up on each one of these 3 pins right here. But we're not going to use this because we're going to continue this connection to our fuse, which we have, and then this positive we're going to hook up to the upfitter switch itself, the auxiliary switch. So we'll cut this off, basically splice right here, but since we're not using that on and off switch, we have to cut all this off, cut these 2 wires, cut this wire, and cut this wire, and we're basically all just going to connect them together. We're going to splice these together. So there's already our 2 grounds connected, but we're going to cut that off there. Okay, red to red, black to black. As we keep going, positive to the fuse. Might as well cut this off while we're here. This is going to be the connection to the upfitter switch, and then from there we'll just ground our ground either on the battery or someplace near there. Just expose some of the bare wire. Now we're going to go ahead and put our shrink wrap over everything. So I've got my 2 ends. I just want to fray them out a little bit. Just kind of push them together so they intertwine. Be good to go. Do the same thing with the black wire now. Set our heat shrink up. We should be good to go. So I think this piece of angle iron will work. I need my holes 4.5 inches on center where I want to mount this. So this side's I can't center the light with this hole, so I'm going to scribe. I'm just going to cut the rest of this piece off right here on this side of the hole, and that should give me my 4.5 inch width, and then I can center my light on there. Just use the Sawzall to cut it. There we go. I can just square up my ends. Alright, so I got it cut down, knock the edges off, knock the burrs off. I'm going to go take some measurements. Okay, so the way this light is and how I'm going to mount it, it's going to sit like that. But this is going to be angled. This isn't going to be 90-degree angled. It's going to be less. It's maybe going to be 45, depending on this back spacing. But this comes with a little gasket here, and basically I need it to sit something like that. But like I said, I got to take this angle and decrease that angle, because this is it's gonna be mounted flush like this, but I want the light shining kind of at an angle just for better coverage. So I think what I want to do next, probably put it in the vise, bend this whole piece over to the angle I want, and like I said, I got to deal with this backing on the light itself, but I want to bend this at an angle, and then we'll put it in the vise, heat it up with the torch a little bit, and give it a couple hits with the hammer. Before I use the torch, I'm just going to see how much, if I can get this to move a little bit with just the persuasion of the hammer. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard to get a consistent bend. Actually, I wonder if I can just put it and then just squeeze it in. That might work that way. This will give me more of a consistent bend than hitting it with the hammer. I might just heat it up now on the spine here and just twist it and let it come together. That'll probably give me a nice, consistent, even bend in the metal. Let's try that. Yeah, this is a cutting head, but we're just going to use it to heat for now. We want just enough to heat the spine up. Relax the metal a little bit. It's going. Maybe a quarter turn, and that might get me where I want to be. Let that cool off a little bit. That should give us the angle we're looking for. Like I said, it's going to be sitting flat, so if we can get a little bit of a under bend in it, we'll see how that goes. Alright, well, here's the piece of angle iron bent. So this gasket I'm kind of using as a template. What I want to do is, I think I'm just going to mark my holes. Those are 5/16, so that's nothing to draw out, but I got to cut all this center out so I have relief for this back, because this is going to sit mounted flush against there. So I'm going to get my center on here, my center on my gasket, mark my holes, trace out the pattern, and then go from there. So we're 1/16 off, so I'll live with that. Outline when I need to cut out, roughly. Hold there. So roughly this. If I just stay on the outside of all that, I should be good. Alright, that wasn't that terrible. Pound out that middle. And we'll just grind that smooth. There we go. There's the center part. Let's just test fit our light real quick. So it's very, very close. I mean, it doesn't want to sit perfectly flat, and the reason is that little lip right here is hitting. So I think, just for my own sanity, see, it's not terrible right there. It rocks a little bit. I might get away with that, actually. Oh, I need the gasket yet. Let's see how that gasket's gonna go on. I still gotta smooth down those edges. That gasket will actually help it, so I won't have to. I still might run a bead of silicone. That's not bad. I could live with that right there. I think we're gonna leave it there, mark my holes, and drill them out and mount it real quick, see what it looks like. My holes are all lined up. Looks pretty square. Show the gap on the top, gaskets on, put the hardware in for the screws, and then probably shoot it with a coat of Rust-Oleum, because where it's going, it's definitely gonna be exposed to the elements. So pretty cool. Spray painted the bracket with some Rust-Oleum. Got a little overspray. I'm not too worried about it. This is just more so to protect it from the PA winters, salt, and everything else that's going to get thrown at it. But painted it black. Go ahead and mount this. It's light. Let's see what we have here. So there we are. There's a rough homemade bracket out of free piece of angle iron I had laying around. So next we'll hook this up to the Upfitter switch and show you what it looks like. Alright, so basically right here is where this light's going, right under the hitch hookup. It's going to sit like that. Like I said, I wanted a curve to point down, kind of disperse the light. So that's where it's going to go. Kind of inconspicuous, I like that, and it'll give me what I'm looking for. Now I'm under the hitch right now, and you can see these were the original holes I was looking to mount it on, but I just noticed this hole and this hole and that hole they're not parallel to one another, so it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna have to drill my holes kind of offset from one another. There's just the bolts I'm using. I'll put some washers on them. That one will go, that one will go. Here we are. Like I said, that's about 4.5 inches on center for each. So I'm gonna mark my holes, get a template, mark my holes on my top bracket piece, and drill them and mount it up. So there we are, all hooked up. I think you're able to see that, just a shot from underneath. Just 2 bolts on each one of those holes under the hitch mounting. There's the light. So we're going to fish the wire up, run it up under here, try to fish it through the frame all the way up to the battery. Alright, so I'm just coming right down from the driver's side of the truck, and I'm going to follow, I'm coming right under the wheel well. Then I'm just going to follow this factory line all the way back to the connection. The battery's on the passenger side, but the upfitter switches are on the driver's side, so I'm going to hook that up here. And alright, so I fished my wires through, and right on the driver's side is your upfitter wires. So according to this, I'm going to use relay 1, so I'm going to do my brown and green. I'm going to connect my hot to the brown and green, and then my ground I'm just going to connect right here. This is a ground where all the wires are already grounded, so I'm just going to connect it there. You can see that we're all soldered up. I just have to slide my heat shrink up, cover that up. So I'm using aux 1, auxiliary 1, so I'm using the brown and green wire, and I'll bundle this up. Oh, snug this up, and hopefully you can see that, but I'm using that ground wire, that ground nut right there to ground all this. So let's hit aux 1. So let's open the door, just turn the key on, and then we'll hit the aux 1 up top. There, it's on, and we have light. So there you go. That's good. That's pretty bright. That's enough to if I'm hooking anything up, or let's look with the tailgate down. So even with the tailgate down, how much it shines out. So it'll definitely cast a lot of light in the morning or at night when you're hunting. Like I said, when we're hooking up the trailer. So nice little project. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. I took a chance on this one, messing up my truck, but did it for some views. So I pretty much have every light possible I can have on right now. There's just the front of the truck, just to give you an idea. I got the mirror lights and then the pod lights on as we walk around the back. There's the lights for the single light I just put on. So puts off a lot of light. Where I'm at, there's very little light pollution. So if it's dark out and I need all the light I can get, I think that one little hitch light there will be perfect. So hit that button, hit that like and subscribe, and check back for more videos.